Hello again. So I got some new stuff right quick, being a totally grammatically sound phrase. This is a quote by Nietzsche. It's do you believe that the sciences would have arisen and grown up if the sorcerers, alchemists, astrologers, and witches had not been their forerunners? Those who, with their promisings and foreshadowings, had first to create a thirst, a hunger, and a taste for hidden and forbidden powers? Yea, and that infinitely more had to be promised than could ever be fulfilled. So it's basically our passion for science and truth comes from this original trying to understand God and nature and reality. And there's been a schism or kind of a break in that kind of attitude towards the scientific, method. Basically, I got this book out of a book called The Noetic Sciences, which is about psi and telepathy being 100% real and all the evidence behind it. But we have this false agenda still that science is, you know, can't ever prove anything like that. I mean, we got Maxwell's equations here. I was just getting into this because I'm finally trying to understand it. These four equations basically say this is the summary. Charged objects create electric fields. Magnets come with two poles instead of a particle, which is from a single source. And these two are the most interesting. If you move a magnet in time, electricity is created, and conversely, electric currents also create magnetic fields. And that's just kind of interesting because the electricity runs, perpendicular to the magnetic field in a particle wave or whatever. And it's just there's a lot of stuff we still don't know. I mean, half this stuff wasn't even discovered not even a century ago, guys. And you know how we're studying, 137 a lot right now? Well, if you take the golden ratio, A and then B, and then put a dot there and make a circle out of this line, uh, the connecting dots are at a angle or degree of 137.5. So there you go. Once again, 137, which has to do with the fine structure constant and light, is directly related to 1.618, the Fibonacci sequence set of numbers equal to phi. So I never knew this. I just saw this yesterday. I'm not seeing this on scientific videos either. I'm seeing this on um, you know, Christian channels. It's like the Christians are the ones interested in these formulas these days. This has nothing to do with constants, but it has to do with gematria being interesting. 2701 is Genesis 1:1 when you add up all the Hebrew letters, and 153 is the number of fish in John 21. And of course, both of these numbers, including 666, are all triangular numbers, so that's not a coincidence. So basically, if we take the 153 and raise it to pi and take the square root of that, we get 2701 approximately. That's pretty cool, huh? So it ties the very first verse of the Bible in uh, to the predestinated elect, the 153 fish, or that concept of the fish being caught and everyone else having to stay for the new world order, that kind of stuff, and then tying it of course with pi, which of course Genesis 1:1 also illustrates. If you just take the number of letters times the product of the letters divided by the number of words times the product of the words, you get 3.1415. And so no one else has discovered that, only me. And what's interesting is that there's a show right now. It's called Manifest, right? And the guy's name in it is Ben Stone, which is well, it's interesting because basically that's my fake Facebook profile. Anyway, I use this as my literal name. But what's even crazier is that they're on a flight, right? And it's flight 828. And Romans 8:28 is exactly the same verse as the predestination verse. So it's a show talking about predestination who stars Ben, which is my name, and Ben Stone, which is my basically my fake Facebook, just so I can sign into games without having to open up accounts and stuff like that. So it's really creepy. Like this is the kind of synchronicities. And of course, the Running Man. So here's the thing. I'm obsessed with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Well, I was when I was a kid, and his name in this movie was Ben Richards, and it was released in 1987 or whatever. But Richards was actually my mom's last name when I got into this movie when I was like 6 or 7. I was like, whoa, my name could have been the same as Arnold Schwarzenegger's in The Running Man. So I just thought it was interesting because Running Man's also about the end times, the post-apocalyptic world they have to live in. And I wrote this down because Christopher Reeve was actually supposed to play Ben Richards, and of course he is the Superman, the Ubermensch. And as we saw on page 210 of that 137 book, it talks about Nietzsche and the Ubermensch, because 210 is my birthday. So anyway, these kind of ideas follow me around. And so right now what I'm trying to do, oh look, there's the Ubermensch picture of Nietzsche, because it was his birthday on the 15th. Um, these codes that I'm finding are not beyond your understanding. It's the methods in which they're hidden. We can find pi in Genesis 1:1. We just don't know how God made it. We just trust him to have made it perfect. We don't know the methods in which God is a genius. We just know he's a genius and find out his clues. And we have things like Swedenborg's formulas, in the sense that, like, the more love you have, the more love and effort increases, the more wisdom increases, or something to that extent. I'm trying to get back into Swedenborg because he's a completely underrated spiritual guru. So I'm trying to find mathematical formulas for psychic phenomena, for action at a distance with human consciousness and emotion, not just particles. All we are is particles and light waves and this and that. So my next goal is to find some kind of formula for, you know, consciousness. Like, if we can find out the speed of light has to do with pi, and E has to do with phi, and the Bible has to do with all of that as well, there's got to be some kind of telekinetic formula, okay? So that's kind of what I'm getting into these days because I'm such an Aquarius. Later.